Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Gumbocast, now in video form on YouTube. We still have the audio podcast where we just essentially take out the video. And it's a special one. It's Gumbocast After Dark. Yes, we're recording this at 12:25 a.m., ladies and gentlemen. I am Cindy Solomon, and shout out to the Schaumburg Boomers. If I could just get this. There we go. Schaumburg Boomers, a local baseball team out of Schaumburg, Illinois. Enjoyed my time there. They had the Dancing Homer video play when somebody hits a home run. And joining me with the laugh track is Jordan Haas.
Hi, folks. How's it going?
Yep. Just to let everybody know, since we are Super Bowl time, Jessica is still cramming, especially since she's got to do that Inside the Pylon draft booklet that she always does. Always puts out some great work there.
I just need to know real quick here. Am I going to still have to end up here when Jessica has to cover the XFL or...
You know, I almost thought about buying season tickets for that.
I mean, the thing is, I'm like, it's questionable if it's going to work or not. I do like some of the new rules in play.
Mm-hmm.
The more tosses, the better. And the 1, 2, 3 point conversions.
Yeah. Like. It's perfectly serviceable. I decided to take my $100 though, and save it up for a trip to Chicago, which is where I'll be heading. February 27th is when I fly out because I'm going to see AEW Revolution.
You're there to see the big. You're here all elite. You're all elite, Cindy.
Yes, Cindy Seidelman is all elite. I can only hope.
Are you joining Dark Order and all that too, or?
I actually dreamt about this, and I kind of dreamt about being a manager for Nyla Rose.
I mean, I like Nyla.
Yeah. She's got an awesome shirt out, in support of the Australian bushfires.
I saw that. I was thinking of grabbing that this morning.
Yeah, the Legend of Nyla. It's shaped after the Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons Game Boy Color title.
Which shows you wrestling is such a geeky, nerdy hobby now.
We're all nerds.
But it's also one that's going towards a good cause. It's going towards benefit for Australia during the time of this awful wildfire going on.
Yep. Absolutely.
So hey, you're going to Chicago. Mm-hmm. Perfect for that's their go-to for a lot of AEW events.
Yep.
All in, all out,
mm-hmm.
Homecoming.
Full Gear was in Baltimore. I forgot about that. Full Gear was in Baltimore, and the Double or Nothing was in Las Vegas.
And I think that's going to be their next pay-per-view after Revolution's Vegas.
I think they have a good setup. Or Florida.
Nothing in here in California. I'm just saying.
You're building
a coward,
up,
Tony.
They're building up to it. And besides, I think if they're going to do California, they'll probably go to San Francisco and do the Cow Palace.
Oh, that would be big. Do the Cow Palace?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking they were going to do the Pyramid. They're going to go back to the Pyramid in Long Beach?
Nah. Cow Palace has more tradition.
Oh, well.
It happens.
So what have we got on the docket tonight?
Oh, we're finally going to talk some game shows. Pressure Luck just wrapped up taping. We have some great updates to talk about from Season 2. Funny you should ask is the game show that won't go away, and for good reason. Some bad news for America Says when it comes to the off GSN reruns. Quiz App Reward the Fan gets a massive update in its look. We got buzzer news to talk about with the Valentine's Day Marathon coming up. And your favorite topic, the Crystal Maze debuting on Nickelodeon.
Oh, boy.
So get ready, ladies and gentlemen. Because all around the interwebs, you took a beating.
I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
Anyway.
Why would people say I took a beating? Just because I was sick on a lot of cold medicine, watching the Crystal Maze.
Well, I was putting a lot of split second to DVD, so I don't know. Guess that makes me the sickest one of all.
I mean, you didn't tweet loopy stuff and then get like Mandela login to go, what the fuck, Jordan?
Well, he liked what I had to say about it in defense of the show.
But no, Mandela's a great friend, and I know he knows I like it a lot, so we're not spoiling anything.
Yep. Maybe for season 2, we bring you in as in a special mental style game. You give an evil riddle or two.
Oh, I get to be the Adam Buxton in a jar?
Yeah.
I don't know if they have the Adam Buxton challenge yet. We have to wait and see, but
right, because the only person that would know anything about these episodes is Mandel or Adam Conover, and we know they're not.
He's a little busy right now with the gaming podcast, and he only made like a few rounds to promote Crystal Maze.
Yeah, I saw him do an interview. I think he did KTLA to talk about
KTLA, and I'm just going to can I just say something real quick? Sam Rubin, what the hell, Sam?
Yeah.
I know you don't know game shows, but we're friends on Facebook. Come on.
Yeah, but it's probably one of those Facebook friends. I think all of us have at least a few Facebook friends. We're friends with famous people that we don't talk to.
Yeah, that's... But it was like, he didn't know what Crystal Maze is, and I don't blame him. It's not an American game show.
No, it's not.
But it's kind of depressing to hear Adam Conover try to explain this was a hit show in Britain. And then like him going, oh, so is this you? Is this the show? And then he's like, no, that's the 90s.
All right, and we're going to talk more about that later on. We're saving the rest. Anything interesting happened to you over the past week? Something interesting happened to me when I went thrift storing.
For me, I was just kind of it was just first getting over the cold, and then 2, it is just trying to get as much backlog of game shows, I suppose. That's the plug again. Getting a whole lot of episodes done in anticipation for Super Bowl, personal stuff, all sorts of good things. I totally missed things like the Royal Rumble. But it was just like, oh, that's right, that existed.
I watched the Royal Rumble. Yep. WWE has this thing where they partnered up with Post Cereal, the makers of Honey Crisp and Sugar Crisp and Honeycomb. And they have these special boxes where if you buy 3 boxes, you get 3 months of the WWE network.
So you get 3 boxes, you get WrestleMania for free.
Yeah. I mainly did it for the Rumble. Because I'm a big Rumble mark, and I'm kind of bummed and I missed last year's Rumble. Because I was just burnt out.
I mean, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So it's...
I mean, you got so much good wrestling out right now. From AEW, NWA, MLW is putting out good stuff. Impact has some issues they got to work through now, thanks to that happening before Hard to Kill. But we won't delve into
Brian.
that. Hey, Brian Zane.
Brian, come on over anytime.
Do game shows, I suppose. By the way, we should. I'll give a quick plug for that one because the most recent one at the time of this recording is Body Language with Chris Zanfan Lane of the Retro Game Network.
Yeah, we did Body Language. That was one of those real rushed episodes. I wish I had more instinct on like what was the rules of the game. It was also one of the rare times I actually got to bring up the Buzzer YouTube channel when they did Body Language.
Oh boy.
I would say it was the best of all of the Buzzer YouTube shows. But it wasn't Body Language. It didn't do the puzzles. To me, Body Language is half the charades and half the puzzle.
Yeah, it was more show-offs than Body Language, but nobody knows show-offs. Some people would know Body Language more than they would show-offs.
Also, I did watch the Search for Canada's game shows.
Oh my gosh. Oh, yes. Why didn't I put that as a topic on the show? You know what?
Go for it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that right now.
Yes.
What did you do this weekend? I watched Search for Canada's game shows.
All right, we're going to talk about the language, and I'm going to superimpose a logo on Cameron's game in search of Canada's greatest game shows over the Gumbocast logo right now. Done. In Search of Canada's game shows came out, I want to say it was the 16th it debuted on Game TV in Canada, but the 9th is when we got sneak previews for us in the States on their In Search of Canada's game shows YouTube channel, and also the website, which has 4 full episodes on it right now. I think episodes 5 and 6 come out on the 30th. And the reason I'm looking off camera is because the calendar is this way.
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
And also, if you go to canadasgameshows.com, there's also full episodes of some game shows. Bumper Stumpers, obviously.
Bumper Stumpers.
Which is always hard to find. It's hard to find.
Yeah. A very fun show. Dave Livingston turned me on to that. There is almost a full week of Jackpot. They say a full week of Jackpot, but it's 4 episodes instead of 5. It's missing the Thursday episode from that week. And it missed...
Kid Street, which was a popular show. Remember Kid Street?
If I could actually roll my eyes, I would... If I could go on camera and roll my eyes...
digging into the past doing that. And also my favorite Canadian game show.
What is your favorite Canadian game show?
The Mad Dash. I love The Mad Dash so much.
You know,
it's the fact that they do the little dance sequence in the beginning that's a little disco-y. It has that concentration prize board that I also like.
It just was... It's the most Canadian game show, and it's so much fun. And I'm happy we got to hear about the Mad Dash in one of the episodes.
You know, that was the part where I just started smiling, going, yes, oh yeah, I remember they imported that show, yeah.
Yeah, it was like Poland, I think, imported it. Poland imported it.
Kangaroo. There's a kangaroo.
Yes.
Called Dasher.
And I think this is episode 4, I think, is when they talked Mad Dash, Pitfall, and Bumper Stumpers.
I thought they were going to talk about, but I think that was episode 3.
I think it's when they talked about, I forget. I honestly forget. But
it's hard because it's a bingeable show, and then you kind of blends.
Yeah, all these episodes blend, and it's just going to be a perfect history. I want to see this come out on DVD.
It is like it's really tough because it's like I'm going to say this to be honest. I don't think this could actually work in America. I mean, we tried that with Game Changers, that documentary of Trebek, like a couple of years ago. We always seem to have like an attempt to do a game show documentary kind of like this. But our history of the American game show is very like decade by decade, genre by genre, what goes where. with Canadian game shows, there's something distinct about them, both in the production, in the hosting, in the presentation,
Right.
in minimalistic, and how it's always had impact based on something else in either American history or British history or French history that gives it something that I hate to say the word iconic, but it gives it something that's a piece of television broadcast history globally.
And I think what also helps the cause for Canada's game shows is that a lot of these 70s and 80s Canada game shows don't exist anymore. They suffered the same fate as American game shows in the 70s, and that is the tape stock was reused. And because Canada's TV budget was around a fifth of what they had, a lot of these episodes are gone.
Although I will say, one of my favorite little things is that little 3 minutes talk about what tape trading was.
As somebody who has taken part in tape trades for the past 2 decades, it is a lot of fun. I love tape trading. I've done it a lot. And one of the talking heads in this documentary is the person who I started tape trading with, Adam Needham.
Who also wrote the book Game Shows FAQ, which also has a lot of the history that's in this documentary.
All the plugs, baby, all the plugs.
I will plug everything. I will plug. If Adam was here, he'd be plugging that every 5 minutes. But no, Game Shows FAQ, great book. He talks about the history of Pitfall.
If it's a show that could succeed, but yeah. But what they lack to mention is they brought up the Alex Trebek interview. And he said that we did the first 65 episodes, and they paid me. And the check cleared. It's that second 65 episodes that nobody got paid for.
And that's the name of game shows. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people forget the business, and the fun part is actually to talk about the business side of game shows in this documentary series,
which is something that is sorely lacking in Game Changers. If we gotta talk about a documentary, I'd rather talk about both the good and the bad. And that's why I like this documentary a lot more, is it actually does talk about some of the downfalls of production, especially with Pitfall and tape erasures and the quiz show scandals of the 50s, and how they kind of turned a negative into a positive, especially. And then we got to hear stories about Monty Hall and stories about Reach for the Top. About Dan Enright, yes. And I don't think Jack Barry did much stuff again. I think that was mainly Dan Enright, because Jack actually was able to find work.
And then there was the story about when Quiz Show came out, and then I forgot who was in the audience. And then when they said Enright continued making game shows, they started booing, and he was crying. I was like, no, he's actually a sweet guy. He was like, this was a mistake by the sponsor, not him. What are you doing?
It was Dan Enright's son who said that.
Oh, that's even worse.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gone to make good game shows.
Dan Enright, some great game shows in Canada, helped produce Bumper Stumpers with Wink Martindale. And a whole bunch of good stuff. They're going to talk about the 90s in episode 5, I think.
Okay, so that's
That's Video and Arcade Top 10.
Kid Street.
Yeah.
Test Pattern. Test
Pattern and Kid Street will probably talk about. I don't know what the 6th episode is, because let's be honest. Does anybody remember? I think it would be quite interesting to hear more about the Quebecois game shows.
Oh, what was that space game show that Tim wanted?
Les Atelier Puppets.
That was such a bizarre show.
It was bizarre, but it was also enjoyable at the same time.
I busted out laughing. I know I wasn't on webcam. You couldn't see this at all. When I saw the clip, when we found the show, I fell on the floor busting out laughing. Because it's such a wholesome but such a funny show.
Yep.
I'm guessing like the last
By the
episode
way,
6 is probably going to be Howie. It's probably going to be Howie Mandel. It's going to be Deal or No Deal, the turn of the century, the 21st century Canadian game shows, revivals of like just like Mom and Dad maybe, historical archives, and probably the pat on the back of Game TV. Like, thanks to Game TV, you can see some of these classic game shows again.
Like Split Second and Bumper Stumpers and Talk About, and that's the only Canadian game shows they air. Because you know what else they're airing right now?
What are they airing?
They're airing Pyramid, $100,000 with Dick Clark.
Okay.
Pressure Luck.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Match Game.
Press.
Ray Combs Family Feud.
All right, now we're getting into like a very distinct era.
Yeah, because they mainly 80s game, it's Match Game and 80s game shows. And in prime time, they air the ABC Fun and Games block.
Oh.
Like on Monday, they'll have Pressure Luck. On Tuesday, Match Game. Wednesday's $100,000 Pyramid with Michael Strahan. I think on Saturdays it's Card Sharks with Joel McHale, stuff like that.
I'm thinking we're gonna probably do. I think it'll just be modern, like Inside the Box, maybe. That was Canadian, right? The 20 Questions game show.
Yeah, Vancouver, a TV show from TV quiz in Vancouver, I think is where they shot. Which had a cup of coffee in the U.S. when season 2, there was going to be a season 2 of Merv Griffith's Crosswords, but the syndicator decided we're gonna give the people options. You could have this show, you could have reruns of Merv Griffith's Crosswords. There's 200 episodes. Or you could have Inside the Box, or you could have this other show. By the way, Seattle aired neither. But Inside the Box aired in the States, believe it or not. And
I don't think they're going to put, like, You Bet Your Ass, for instance, or...
It's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, no.
It's not that bad.
I'm trying to think, like, I think they're going to try and go for, like, hey, remember when we had 6 episodes of Deal or No Deal Canada? And, hey, remember Cash Cab Toronto? Don't talk about what happened with the Cash Cab.
What happened with the Cash Cab in Toronto?
The one that hit the passenger and had to sue.
Yeah. Okay. The game show downfall of the 2000s. They could talk about that.
The only other country I can think of where it can kind of work is Australia. Like, that's the only other 2 countries I can think of: Canada and Australia. You can't really do UK. You can't really do America.
No, I think you could do UK. But a lot of those, how many times are we going to talk about Bullseye, or how many times are we going to talk about Family Fortunes?
The Generation Game.
Or actually, that would be good. We don't hear much about Gen Game though. Even though
Gen Game 3-2-1.
3-2-1 Countdown, even though that's still going.
And then you'll probably have your your modern, so it'd be Pointless,
The Chase, Tipping Point, Bargain Hunt.
I think Bargain Hunt is really one of those games. It's like, isn't that on PBS? Like a version of Bargain Hunt?
BBC One.
All right. Because I think that could easily work in America. That's like one of the most American game shows I can think of in that country.
Well, they did have Jeopardy.
You did, but with the blind bets.
Mm.
Um,
But yeah, I think you're right. Australia would be perfect for this. I mean, I would. But there's so many stories we've heard about Australian wheel.
Australian wheel. You got to talk about the turn of the sail of the century.
Yep.
When that became a huge hit.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I found out something interesting about that because I was looking up. I was on an Aussie wheel kick, and I looked up and I found a story on Tony Barber. And what happened is they showed off some Great Temptation footage, which was Sail the Century before Sail the Century, or the Sail the Century that we know as Sail the Century. So that's quite interesting. And he says that taking the Wheel of Fortune job was the biggest mistake of his life, or the biggest mistake of his career, I should say.
Because you could have this.
Well, the thing is that Seven Network did John Burgess dirty. They didn't want him anymore, so they fired him.
Ooh.
And said, all right, here's all of the money, host the show. And Tony Barber was like, okay. And I think they moved the show from Melbourne to Sydney. And then after 6 months, and after a couple of months, Barber figured out everything. And when he was doing radio interviews, he was like, I gotta explain, I have nothing to do with this. But everybody in Australia thought he was the executioner and not Seven Network.
Ooh.
So, yeah, that was fun. But as graceful as ever, Tony Barber, passed the torch to Rob Elliott, and everything was hunky-dory with Wheel of Fortune until 7 years later, where they did Rob Elliott dirty.
Starting to think all these game shows are cursed in Australia.
Yeah, kind of.
I'm starting to think something's gonna happen at Mastermind.
Probably. Or Chase Australia.
The thing is, every Australian version of all these adaptations is really good. Meant to Win It was great. Mm-hmm. The adaptation of Feud was fantastic.
That got done dirty.
Pointless. Their Pointless was amazing, and then it's but
it didn't get any ratings.
Well, it's also most of the time it's that mid prime time 6 p.m. 7 p.m. slot. Stay tuned for the news.
Yeah, they're a lot of game shows are leading for news nowadays, especially in Australia.